There is a story we've been told for centuries. A gentle teacher walking dusty roads, touching the untouchable, standing between the powerful and the condemned, and saying, "Let the one without sin cast the first stone." And there is another story, not written on parchment, but carved into bodies, burned into villages, buried in mass graves. The story of an institution that dared to call itself his voice. This is not about attacking faith or mocking childhood prayers. This is about power, about a system that wrapped itself in a cross and used it as a weapon instead of a bridge. Look back. Under banners painted with Christ's name, armies marched across continents. Holy wars, they called them. Soil still remembers armored boots and the screams of those who would not bow to the only truth. The Roman Catholic Church became an empire. Kings trembled before its words. Peasants bent under its taxes. And anyone who questioned, doubted, whispered was labeled heretic, witch, infidel. Libraries of older wisdom were destroyed, temples and sacred groves cut down, midwives and healers burned, indigenous traditions crushed under a theology that declared itself the one and only light. Why such hunger to erase the old? Because ancient festivals, solstice fires, harvest dances, moon and seed and soil gave people a direct relationship to nature, to each other, to mystery. The calendar once followed the body. Moon and season, blood and ocean, people knew when to rest and sow, when to mourn, when to celebrate. To control people, you first sever them from their own center. Replace the drum of the earth with a bell in a tower, the circle round the fire with rows of silent benches, inner knowing with decrees from a distant throne. So the church took the old days, dressed them in new names and said, "These are ours now. Your gods were demons, your rituals sin. We alone hold the keys." Greed moved in wearing holy robes, coins clinked for indulgences, forgiveness sold like merchandise, land, power, titles collected for God, though God never signed the deeds. And the message shifted. Suffer now, obey now, submit now, and maybe after death you'll be rewarded. Heaven is carrot, hell is whip. This is not the language of the man who broke bread with outcasts and touched lepers with bare hands, but of rulers afraid of losing control. Teach people their real life is elsewhere, and you can steal the one they have, send them to war and crusade, ask them to endure injustice and abuse because God will set it right later. The cost? Countless dead, Jews in ghetto and pogrom, Muslims slaughtered in the name of the Prince of Peace, women tortured as witches, queer lives erased, indigenous cultures shattered in missions and schools, children taken, languages silenced, gods mocked as idols. Not a few bad apples, but a structure choosing power over truth, image over honesty, obedience over compassion. Even now, as abused children speak, we see denial, hidden files, predators protected, victims shamed, an institution claiming to guard the light, yet unable to face the darkness it created. Where is public weeping, unqualified confession, treasures sold to repair lives broken in the church's shadow? Instead, we get cryptic statements, legal defenses, half admissions, as if the body of Christ were a corporation with PR consultants and crisis managers. This is the dark cross, not wood on a hill, but the heavy, invisible weight of centuries of unacknowledged harm. The lack of divine light is not God's absence, but refusal to step into the honesty where light lives. Yet in the pews sit people whose hearts ache for something real. Nuns quietly serving the poor, priests who doubt the dogma, but stay with the suffering. Believers who feel the dissonance between the Jesus they love and the system speaking in his name. This is no call to hatred. Hatred is just another chain, but a call to clarity, to the courage to say, what has been done in the name of Christ often has nothing to do with Christ. If divine light means anything, it must mean truth, listening to those crushed under the wheels of salvation, returning stolen dignity, relinquishing stolen power. Imagine a church that laid down its crown, sold its palaces, opened its archives, and knelt not before golden altars, but before the people it harmed. Imagine leaders saying, we were wrong, we burned what was sacred, silenced what was wise, traded the living Jesus for an empire in his clothes. Maybe then the cross would no longer be dark. Until that day, let us not confuse obedience with faith or authority with truth. Let us remember older wisdom, earth season, shared humanity. The dark cross casts a long shadow, but shadows exist only where light is possible. The question is not whether God has abandoned us, but whether we are willing to step out of the shadow of institutions and back into the light of conscience, compassion, responsibility.